Parent. To parent is to bring forth. When we cohabit as male and female, we practice the power of giving life. We practice the power, the ordained power of bringing forth life. But the question is, beyond the physical infant, after that child is born, what are we bringing forth? There are things hidden, implanted, encoded in the mind potential, the heart potential, the spirit potential, the talent potential of each human that are hidden, that have to be brung forth. And so this mandates that if we are responsible parents, we're working on ourself. We're in a process of self-development. We're in a process of trying to gain balance. We're trying to gain self-control. We're trying to develop healthy self-perspective, self-regard, self-esteem within ourselves and with one another as parents, so that we have the skill sets to stimulate and motivate these things in the children that we bring forth. But if we are not in that process, what are we as parents bringing forth? If our concept of being male and female is void of self-development, and I'm not talking about material development, I'm talking about morals, values, principles, high standards, etc., then what do we have to offer to our offspring? What can we bring out of them that we are not trying to bring out of ourselves? And so patience, humility, virtue, these are the highest qualities that a human being can cultivate. You can have a lot of money, you can have a big house, you can have a lot of real estate, you can have the finest cars, the finest designer garments, you can have all the luxuries of life, but operate from a very low quality perspective. You can make these things, give them a status that creates mental, moral, emotional, internal stagnation in yourself as a human being. And so when I have children in a state of material worship and spiritual stagnation, as a parent, I have by default subjected myself to a high probability of being defective as a parent, because material things do not make quality human beings. This is why we have a community now, a community epidemic, that we will go to the luxury districts and break the window, break the case, break the glass, bust the door down to steal quality things and wear them, but we are not quality human beings. We will allow our children to bring those looted goods to us as parents, and we will wear them. We will have on quality garments, so-called, but we're not quality people. And so if I'm not a quality person, what how can I be a quality parent? And so if I'm not a quality parent, if I'm not a quality person, I can't be a quality parent. If I'm not a quality person, I can't create quality relationships, or the qualities of my relationship will not be according to the highest values of human existence. Therefore, as a parent, my parenting will not be on the highest level of aiding the divine force to create and bring out what is in the human being on the highest level. So when my relationship runs into turmoil, difficulty, strife, conflict, etc., I don't have the highest quality skill set to invest and imbue into my relationship. And so my solutions are low quality solutions. So in my low quality solutions, I am of a state as a parent and a person that I am willing to weaponize my own offspring against the other person. So this is going on wholesale, especially in the black community. We are weaponizing our children against one another because we are not developed human beings. We're selfish, we're self-centered, we're narcissistic, we're self-absorbed. We cannot take any type of critique, no matter how grounded or real it is. We have lost the capacity to admit our own wrong, our own shortcomings, to apologize, to ask forgiveness, to seek atonement with one another, to try to correct myself in a way that I don't continue to make the same crass, brutal mistakes toward myself and the people that I love. We don't have those qualities anymore. So when our relationships go beyond the level of our virtue, the level of our patience, the level of our humility, the level of our highest qualities, then our relationships are easily dissolvable. But they are dissolved in a way that engenders and brings out of us the lowest qualities of human beings. And thus we weaponize our own children against one another. And usually it's easier to weaponize the child against the father because society has demonized black men for almost over 500 years in America. So it's easy to demonize a black man as a father for any small or large shortcoming that we may possess. And so we engage in what is called grooming. We will groom our child with various techniques to make them effective weapons against their own father. And some of us as fathers will do the same thing to weaponize our children against their own mother. What kind of crass, dark mind, dark heart, selfish spirit do we have to possess that we will weaponize our own children against one another? What gives us the right to weaponize a life that came through us, but at the root of that life is the source of all life? You see, the truth is, according to the Centers for Disease Control, of all the fathers in the United States of America, black fathers are the most involved of all fathers in the United States of America. 70% of black fathers, statistically, have participated and do participate in the daily lives of their children, everything from changing diapers to feeding to monitoring to teaching to playing to all types of parental involvement versus 60% of white fathers versus 45% of Hispanic fathers. Think over that. Even though we're demonized as being deadbeats, even though we're demonized as being poor fathers, we statistically, the facts do not support this. But there is a problem because more than 70% of our children grow up without two parents from birth to 18 years old. So there's a problem we have. But the problem is not a one-sided problem. The scale has two sides. But if we are only willing to put all the weight on one side, we will never have balance in our life as adults and parents, and we can never impart balance to our offspring. We can never bring forth in a new generation a balanced way of having relationship. Think over what I'm saying. We are in a crisis in our community that nobody wants to talk about because half of us don't want to hear any criticism. Half of us, you cannot tell us we're wrong. You cannot tell us we need to improve. You cannot tell us that our attitudes are bad. You cannot tell us that we have some unbecoming, undesirable attributes and traits. Half of us believe that there is nothing wrong with us and everything wrong in our relationship. The other side is 100% responsible and my side carries no blame. How can we be true parents, good parents with this kind of thinking? So in my last talk, I talked about child alienation. But I want you to think about what I'm saying tonight. Or what I'm saying right now. Not tonight, pardon me. We need to look at ourselves. We need to have some sober conversation. We need to look at what we've become and where we're going if we stay the way we are. Because we're hurting one another. Our young people, yes, it's a lot of violence, but the real violence, the real trauma is psychological, emotional, and generational. We are so affixed on using money and material achievement to validate ourselves as human beings that we have lost the meaning of being human. We've taken on the values and standards of our enemy, who work very diligently, very scientifically, and very methodically to alienate us from one another, black male, black female. They have artfully, skillfully alienated us from one another. We don't have balanced talk. Either it's all about men or it's all about women. Usually it's all about women. And so even when we talk about black struggle, black social justice, black inequity, and white supremacy, it's all about what's happening to women. But the conversation is never balanced. It's never, look what's happening to us. How did that happen? Who's controlling our thinking? Who's controlling our perspective? I know you say, don't nobody control me, but that's a myth. Because we're not guarding the information, the messages, the images, and the social cues we allow into our minds through our 5th and 6th sense. We are nursing, feeding. We're at a smorgasbord of information that has been generated, crafted, and controlled by the very systems that have been used to put us in the condition that we're in as a people where we don't really have true love for ourselves or each other. And our daughters are still walking around with white Barbie dolls. Our sons are still and some of us as fathers, we're still walking around with our behinds out and our underwear showing. We have become as long-haired, feminized as our women. You think this is by accident? You think it doesn't have an effect on our generations? So I hope you will think about what I'm saying, because our minds are not our own, in spite of what we think. Some things are in the natural order of the creation. And much of what we engage in lifestyle moves us out of that natural order. It is not natural. Animals do not turn their children against the parent. Study nature. What species does the mother turn the cub or the offspring against the father? What species does the father run from his duty to his offspring? This is very unnatural everywhere except in our community. Think over these things. Thank you.